But they always have a great content out there. And now he joins us. Austin, good morning. And thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. I'm curious. We were talking during the break about Matt Campbell saying that the players for Iowa State had to have a number of them took pay cuts this year. Did you ever think we'd be at that point where we're talking about a major college football, I should say major, but a Power 4 college football program talking about players taking pay cuts?
Well, I'd like for Matt Campbell to actually be able to back that up with real information. And I hope, Tito, that we get to this point where, because look, it's Big 12 media days, and there's going to be ACC media days where people are asked about NIL, and Big 10 media days and SEC, and they're all going to say the same thing. We had guys who could have left for more money. They love the culture here. It's established. Ohio State can say that as well. Like, everyone will say that, and there's no way to validate this at that point. So I'm not calling Matt Campbell a liar. That's not the way I'm meaning to bring this up. But I don't know what else he's supposed to say about it when people are asking these NIL questions and we don't have contracts that are available to confirm. We don't have NIL Go in place to validate the deals that are in place. I mean, I'm sure that the best players at Iowa State could have left for more money or used more leverage to maximize their earning elsewhere. And I think that that's true for every program in the country. So, I do feel, Tito, like it's a new world where we have to adjust to all of these conversations and the contracts and house settlement and revenue sharing. But what I'm hoping happens is that in 2 or 3 years, A, we don't have to have these conversations about players looking for more money elsewhere. But B, you don't just have to go put PR spin on it and boost up your culture and pat yourself on the back for it, because we would have a better idea of who's spending what and how much. And there will be rules and regulations that will restrict some of that money grabbing movement. Matt Campbell, I think, is a fine person to be leading this conversation right now, but I think it's going to change in time where it might be more legitimate to have it and not just good spin for every program.
How much do you love media days, Austin?
I hate media days, Bob.
I didn't ask you hate them. I said,
look,
how
yesterday
much
was
do
a
you
pretty
love
good
them?
example of that. We played the Matt Campbell sound on the Buckeye show last night, and there was a DJ playing in the background. You could barely make out anything he was saying. This is an event that is supposed to be just for conversation and content and not for the public. And there's music blaring in the background, and whoever was talking to Matt Campbell, you could barely hear him. So I hope that doesn't happen in 2 weeks in Las Vegas.
Oh, Coach, we're going to Vegas here. It's not quite the star for Jerry World like they had, but this is going to be pretty sweet. Where's it going to be in Vegas, by the way?
The Mandalay Bay.
Oh, yeah.
So not even – they did such a great job. Honestly, I mean, there are things I would certainly – and for some reason, the surveys that I fill out for the Big Ten, they never take any of the advice that I pass along. But the one thing they did best was having this actually on a football field at Lucas Oil Stadium the last couple of years. It felt like football was back. It was a good backdrop. It was good for TV, which I know is super important to Tony Petitti. Having it in Las Vegas and then putting it in like a conference room at the Mandalay Bay is really a buzzkill. And I know that I'm a press box snob, Bob, and I know it's not news to you that I don't like the formats of these events, but even something as simple as like only allowing 3 players to go prevents you from putting a wider spotlight on your team.
I looked at the Big 12. They've got like 5 and 6 guys on some of these teams.
Yeah, and I tongue-in-cheek, I called it a snub because if you only are allotted 3 spots, then Ohio State is taking the correct 3. But that's the problem, is that Carson Hinsman is a great representative of Ohio State, and he has a great story, and he's great in front of a microphone. That helps the Big Ten. It helps Carson Hinsman. It helps Ohio State. Someone like him should be there representing it. And there's no reason not to. You're going to be taking the same kind of private plane out there, no matter what, there is an extra seat or two. And all you're doing is paying for maybe one more boxed lunch for these guys who are out there for 8 hours. So, I don't mean to just complain all the time about this event, but it has outgrown its usefulness, at least in the format that they're using right now. And I know, Bob, that this is the first year, like the Ohio State beat is not just important for covering the Buckeyes and not just the largest anywhere in the country, but like it's one of the most passionate and extensive reaching beats in college football. And so putting it in Las Vegas and asking, and not just here, Penn State, Michigan, I know that there are people who cover all of these programs in the Midwest who are having to make a decision about going out there and the expense for one day with 3-player interviews and an hour with the coaching staff. For me, I know we need to be there and we're going to be there, but it's a tougher call for everyone else. Oregon faced the same dilemma a year ago, and they only had one member of their beat go to Indianapolis for this cross-country flight. And Oregon's, the program, their SID, said, you know what? We know that that's too much. We're going to make sure that you have players in Eugene, and Dan Lanning will talk to you guys either, I don't remember if it was before or right whenever they get back. And that's the kind of thing that I think is better for coverage of these programs anyway. I don't expect that Ohio State wants to have a full team media day, but really you can ask Fox and CBS and NBC and ESPN to travel around and pick and choose the programs. I don't think that they care that much about talking to the players from Rutgers, if we're being honest. So if you set up on July 23rd at the Woody, a full team or the a bowl game style availability with the Buckeyes, well, every broadcast outlet in the country would fly in for that. And I know that the local media would sure appreciate that and be better for the coverage of that particular team. I know that's not going to happen, but that is something that would be of more use than these television shows that they're staging across the country and in Las Vegas for the Big Ten in 2 weeks.
So, Austin, I know you're doing all your prep work before going to the Big Ten Media Days. Is there a certain question or person, like a certain question you have for somebody, you're like, you know what, I'm going to make sure I ask this person this question, like something special you got in the holster that you can't wait to fire at somebody at Big Ten Media Days, be it from any school?
Well, I don't care about the other schools, Tito.
Yeah,
I
we
won't
can ask
talk
questions
to any
for
of
them?
those. No, I
I
don't.
would do
care
it just to
about
bother them, just ruffle their feathers. Go ahead.
No, I don't care about that. And to be honest with you, our experience and our analytics tell us that Ohio State fans don't want to hear from other programs anyway. They want more Ohio State information. So I'm going to spend all of my time talking to Jeremiah Smith, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and Ryan Day. And the other part about being in the zoo of media days is that you don't want to ask your good questions in front of 300 other media members. So we are expecting to have time one-on-one with all four of those guys. The last hurrah for Jerry Emig at a media days. He's been great for us with every iteration. 97.1 The Fan, 10 TV, The Beat now, where this podcast lives. We will be having those conversations, or we intend to. And I asked Bob about this last week, and I'm curious what Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs will say now with 6 months of working with Matt Patricia, what they expect that defense is going to look like. And I think both of these guys I know both of these guys are savvy enough to not give too many specifics away. But I also think, and based on what Bob said last week, I tend to agree. Like, it may not be the same defense from week to week. What is that like to operate in a world where if you're Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs, your responsibilities might change significantly based on the opponent from week to week, and how does that fit in with the rest of their defense? These guys are two of the sharper football minds that you're ever going to be around, and so I think there's going to be just a flood of attention around Jeremiah Smith for good reason, of course, and I think that might open up opportunities for more in-depth conversations with these defensive players, and that's really where I have more questions. Jeremiah, I don't need to hear Jeremiah get asked about NIL 55 times in a row and how close he was to going to Miami or whatever. That part is going to really suck for Jeremiah Smith, and I don't want to listen to it personally. But I hope that there's an opportunity where people actually do get to talk to him about football as well.
More questions to Jeremiah about NIL or about his comments in The Athletic about Michigan?
I think it's going to be very, very heavy on NIL for him.
Really?
And that's probably not going to be that fun. Yeah, it'll be more about that. And the thing that's going to be closer, Bob, like maybe second place, will be JJ's quotes about Julian Sayin and the quarterback battle.
Ooh.
Because the thing about Jeremiah is that he may not love doing interviews, but if you ask him a question, he's going to answer it. And it's going to be truthful and it's going to be honest. And that's exactly what happened with the quarterback question that he got. Now, I do think that the way it was phrased was probably specific to Julian Sayin, which is why Lincoln Kienholz may not have been mentioned, which goes back to it's sort of like Ron Burgundy. Whatever you're going to ask him a question, he's going to answer that one directly. And he's not going to waste time with filler, and he's not going to say, well, you know what? It's not just Julian Sayin, it's also Lincoln Kienholz. So that part where he's sitting there for 45 minutes, JJ, and he's going to get asked about, well, what about the rest of the quarterbacks? And do you care who starts? Do you think you should have input on who does start? Because you're the best wide receiver in America. Like, I think I do think it would be interesting to see how he would answer that question. So maybe, Tito, that it would be the one for your question for me that's in the holster. I don't want to necessarily – I'm not there to create uncomfortable situations or headlines all on my own or try and make news myself. But I do think that is the kind of question he will get asked over 45 minutes, and that answer might be the most revealing of any.
I think Ryan Day should have leaned into this quarterback thing like Deion did. Deion took 2 quarterbacks to media days. Could you imagine if Day had taken Sayin and Kienholz to media days?
Yeah, I think Purdue did that, or either Purdue or Nebraska did that as well at Big Ten media days. Because, like, well, we don't want one to have to answer questions about the other, so they're just both going to be there. But he could have done that too, Tito, if there was no restrictions on how many you bring. If you're going to take 5 or 6 players, you could have brought both quarterbacks, and you could have brought Carnell Tate or Caden Curry or Kenyatta Jackson or whoever. Edric Houston is one of the most dynamic, outgoing people that you're ever going to find in college football. Why would you limit any of this? It doesn't make any sense. That you're also only having a third of the teams go per day. There's not any limit on time. Just keep bringing people out all day long. You know what that produces? More content for your television shows. More characters for your television shows. Come on, Tony Petitti. Get it together.
Yeah, the cap on 3 is I was looking at the Big 12 list yesterday, and some of the schools are 4, 5, and then I saw a couple 6 bangers in there. I'm like, I was like, I don't know. I just always thought they brought 3. I didn't realize it was a rule in the Big 10 And so that's Tony Petitti, you think, that's issuing? Maybe you should ask Tony Petitti that. That's the question. Why are you limiting schools to bringing 3 people? And don't tell me it's time. We're here for 3 days.
Yeah. They've stretched this thing out to the point where, again, like if it's in Indianapolis, the people that might be sticking around for all 3 days to cover these teams, they all exist in Columbus, Ohio, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Happy Valley in Penn State, covering Penn State. Like those are the 3 media beats that are going to cover all of college football. This morning we're talking about Matt Campbell in Big 12. I guarantee you there aren't a lot of other radio markets in the country who would be spending this amount of time. Maybe the NIL comments move it a little bit differently, but we know how much passion there is for college football in Columbus, and there's a bottomless appetite for it. And I think making it more difficult to provide that is a very strange decision. And I hope that this Las Vegas thing is just a 1-year aberration. Super excited for the heat out there. It's a great time to go visit the desert. I was hoping that maybe like Brett Bielema would just go sit out by the pool, maybe crack a few cold ones and do his interviews out there. And that would be nice. I think I would do that if we've got the option between a conference center and the pool. I think I'd go out and just hang out with Bielema and shoot the breeze out there. If we get any of that, maybe I'll take eat my words and take it back, but I bet we don't.
Based on your pigmentation there, I would warn you, just wear a lot of sunscreen. It's going to be 110 in Las Vegas today.
Oh, nice.
And up close to 110 for the next 10 days for the highs out there. But it's a dry
what's
heat.
it in Indianapolis, Tito?
You know what? It's indoors.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect out there in Indy. Yes, you could go there. You're right. All right. Thanks for the time, buddy. We appreciate it. Are you on the Buckeye show? You're not on tonight, right? But you're on the rest of the week?
No, I'll be there. I've been
you're
on the last 2 nights. One more opportunity with Beamer tonight, so we just go 6 to 7. Inside Edge returns, but I'll be back on 97.1 The Fan this evening.
Thank you so much for your time. Looking for Austin and Berm, the daily podcast. The Beat with Austin and Berm is now available on the 10 TV Plus app. I'm not going to give Bobby a chance to make the joke by asking which half of Austin and Berm you are, but thanks for the time, bud. We'll talk again next week.
See you guys.
All right, you bet. Check him out on the Buckeye Show tonight with Brandon Beam from 6 to 7 right here.